Hello and welcome back to the Morning Grind. I'm Jay. Today we talk Grammys and royalty as we discuss the outcome of the 62nd Annual Grammy Awards and look into the Harry and Meghan scandal. But first, a look at the news.
Hey, thanks Jay. I'm Abz, and it's time for the news run through. This week we had a ton of stuff to look into. The 62nd Grammy Awards took place, and we'll get into that later on today. Kobe Bryant sadly passed away in a helicopter accident alongside his 13-year-old daughter and 7 others. In a tragic accident that has been talked about non-stop this week, tribute have been paid to the basketball legend and others who have tragically passed away by pretty much everyone. With the NBA, NFL and the Grammys counting themselves as only some of the organisations that held moments of silence for the now deceased Black Mamba. Meanwhile, the coronavirus is starting to spread, with our first case of patients infected being reported in Europe, North America and Australia. In response to the DHSC has been quarantining Britons that have returned from Wuhan, China, where the virus started. With the quarantines being imposed from 14 days to try and limit the spread, the members of the European Parliament have voted in overwhelming numbers to ratify the Brexit withdrawal agreement with 621 votes to 49 following a conference in Brussels. After the vote, the MEPs burst into a rendition of "Auld Lang Syne" to mark the UK's exit from the EU, which still is set for the 31st of January. That's it for today. Now, on to the weather.
Well, we've still got some heavy and thundery showers swirling around this area of low pressure, confining the heaviest of the showers to the north of England. The good news is for the northwest, fewer showers, more in the way of sunshine. Elsewhere it becomes dry, with some mist patches floating around. Early morning mist tomorrow morning, and it's a dry, bright start in a fair few places.
The 62nd Annual Grammy Awards took place yesterday, and it was a big evening for Billie Eilish, who took home 4 of 5 major categories, making history in multiple ways. We got Esme Holiday in today as a guest to spitball on the Grammys outcomes and see what she thinks.
Yes, before we get into that, our own Beth McLean went out and found out several people had to say about the outcome of the Grammys.
Hello, so I am live from UA92 and I'm here with
Jessie.
And today I'm going to be asking you a few questions about the Grammys. So did you watch the Grammys?
I did, yes.
Yeah, and what was one of your favourite looks?
Probably Ariana Grande and Billy Porter. They went above and beyond, and that's what music's all about. So I like to see their creativity in their clothes and not just their music.
Definitely Billy Porter's mechanical hat.
Great, and why is that?
Because I've never seen anything like that, and it's been the best meme generator of 2020.
What was your opinion on Billie Eilish winning the most Grammys?
I love Billie Eilish. I listen to her all the time, and I think that for her to win at such a young age just shows that when you have deep music and music that'll reach all generations, then you are winning, and it just shows that anyone of any age, as long as you're expressing yourself, you can win.
Well done for her. It was good. Personally, I don't see why. I'm not a big fan of Billie Eilish. I don't think she's a singer. She just talks.
And Kobe Bryant sadly passed away at the weekend. So what's your opinion on Alicia Keys doing a little song for him?
Yeah, I think it was really appropriate and really nice, and they've obviously reacted to the tragic news really quickly, and I think it was a really great platform to kind of commemorate him and remember him and everything that he did, and just kind of provide some comfort to his fans and his family and things like that. Yeah,
really touching. I grew up watching him, the Black Mamba, as a kid with the Lakers, and it was just really touching.
It's very touching. It was nice to have a tribute. He's somebody that not only in basketball but has kind of been an inspiration across sport. I mean, you saw with the Australian Open in the tennis recently that a lot of people paying tribute to him and the influence he's had on their careers, even though it's not necessarily basketball related. So I thought it was very nice, and it's something that the Grammys are quite good at reacting to very quickly, like we saw a couple of years ago with Whitney Houston.
For such a person that was not only a basketball star but touched everyone in all aspects of life, it was great to see that he could be remembered in such a great way.
So Esme, you're a student at the University of Salford, and I understand you have a passion for music, so did you watch the Grammys?
Of course I did. It's a night that you've got to watch, haven't you? I feel like you can't go without watching the Grammys. It's so it's such an important part of the year. I think if you don't watch, or even just snippets like on YouTube, the snippets of all the best performances and news articles, you've got to look into it because it's always so great.
Any best performance from your highlight performance?
Well, Demi Lovato, that was really, really emotional. Obviously, she's back, isn't she, 2 years after her overdose. And I think that her song was just so moving, obviously, with Kobe passing as well. I think the whole vibe of the night was just so emotional that also having her first performance back was just an amazing experience to watch.
Yeah, it was almost like a theme, the whole, dedication kind of, to all these obviously great people who died. You had Nipsey Hussle who won an award. He died a couple months ago. You had Kobe Bryant who died on the weekend of the Grammys. Then you also had Demi Lovato coming back from an overdose. It was really like a whole big emotional thing.
Yeah.
Obviously,
really
she did a little stumble to start off her thing, but ended up all right.
Yeah. Well, she restarted, didn't she? So,
Yeah.
And I think that probably just set her in good stead. But I think there was a couple of tears, like rolling down her face. But
Yeah.
obviously, it's emotional.
So what did you think in terms of outfits?
So I feel like everyone has got to say Billy Porter was amazing.
Yeah.
I think that has been a highlight of everyone's Monday, seeing that amazing reveal. Also, obviously, Ariana Grande, she's so lovely, and also, she always looks amazing, doesn't she? Because Lizzo, oh my goodness, on the red carpet, she had it was like bejeweled, amazing dress. It was beautiful, but I think it's one of those things that everyone always looks amazing. Like, everyone always looks so good.
But there's always one standout. I mean, Billy Porter's whole thing was like something out of Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
Whole mechanical, opening thing.
I know, so
All the others were just like these grand dresses and whatnot.
Yeah.
Except for
all the memes.
Just something a little bit different, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, however you want to look at it, it was without a doubt a pretty crazy weekend for the Grammy Awards. In fact, it helped pull the ever-interested public eye away from the royal family and the always polarizing topic that is Megxit.
Hey, it did for a while. Now, after almost 2 years of marriage and a baby, Harry and Meghan have officially given up their royal duties.
Being so in the public eye must put strain on family life, however. Some are arguing that abandoning the royal duties after their marriage isn't the correct course of action, since that's pretty obviously caused a media storm. Surely they must have expected this and prepared.
Oh, well, there's been a shift to constant negative press after the taxpayers were expected to pay to extend their already huge house in the country where there's more food banks at McDonald's restaurants. Oh my days. But it's starting to become silly now to the point where she's being criticised for how she holds her own child.
Well, Beth McLean's at it again. She's live now from Tech, where she has some people ready to spill the beans on their thoughts about Harry and Meghan.
Hello, it's Bethany McLean. I'm reporting from UA92 TAC, and I'm here with Danielle.
Damien.
And Steph.
Yep. I'm going to be asking some questions about Meghan and Harry. So, what do you think of Harry and Meghan's split from the royal family?
I think that they've done the right thing for their family.
Yeah, and do you have?
I just think that they're entitled to their privacy, and if it was any other family, we really wouldn't care. But because they're in the public eye, I think it's just made sort of big splash.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's really good for their family, and I fully support it.
Yeah. And do you think that Meghan was the cause of this?
I don't think that Meghan was the cause of it. I think it could be anybody. It just happens to be Meghan.
I think it's the British media who have pushed them into this corner. They've really been victimised over a long time, and I think they need to break away from that.
I don't think it's Meghan's fault. I think we live in a blame culture, and actually it's a decision that they've made as a couple, and that's what's right for them and their family.
Do you think they made the right decision?
Yes, for their family, but obviously everybody's got an opinion of it, of them, with them being part of the royal family.
Yeah. Whatever makes them happy, whatever sort of helps them as a family, it's up to them.
Yeah, I think they've made the right decision.
Okay, thank you very much. And back to the studio.
Esme, I can safely assume you've heard Harry and Meghan before. You've heard about Harry and Meghan before. But what do you think about them distancing themselves from the royal family?
Yeah, so it's a biggie, isn't it? I feel like it's a very major topic at the moment. Like, obviously, Brexit's been a massive thing, and I think this is kind of almost on par. Personally, I think it's a family move. I think it's probably the right thing for them to do. If they feel that that's what they need to do, then I think good on them for being able to get out. But, I mean, she just receives a lot of negative press, doesn't she? Which I think stems from probably a racism point of view. But I feel like everyone has different opinions and has a very... I feel like it's polar opposite views. You either love her or hate her. I don't think there's many people that are just in the middle.
Yeah, I think racism definitely plays into it. I mean, for one thing, she's the first black person in the royal family in ages, if ever. Don't know if there's been one before. But I don't think it's the whole thing from the royal perspective. I mean, I get part of it. Since they are members of the royal family, what they do reflects on you. And if they go to Canada, obviously Prince Harry is one of the wilder members. So he does something crazy, it just looks bad for them.
Yeah, I didn't think of that perspective, but I suppose you're not going to have as much control, are you, if they're in Canada over the press? But again, the members of the royal family, like, there's not surely Canada press aren't going to, like, do you know, like, create a bad story because the royal, like, they are royal.
Yeah, they're not going to leech on them.
Yeah, no.
Got other things to talk about there too, but it's just that thing about control. Obviously, being royals, you want to probably use to control.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you all have your own opinion of Harry and Meghan and the Grammys too. So now it's time for the show where we move on to some of the answers you all have. All you lovely people had to give through our social media.
That's right. This week, we've been asking you about whether you think Meghan and Harry quit their royal duties due to media scrutiny and whether you think they made the right decision. These are some of the answers we got this week. So here's Bobby Hadgraft saying, I don't think so. I think the media will follow them, royals or not.
So, that's it for today's show. Don't forget to check it at The Morning Grind on Instagram and Twitter to answer more of our questions next week. We'd love to hear from you next time. So from me and the rest of the team, have a good morning and a good grind.